You know, I don't know about you, but I got a lot to say today. I've done a lot of research. So, folks, I'm also going to do another reading from my book for you today. So, stay in, subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Okay? And I really appreciate each and every person, every single day that comes here. You know, we're hearing a lot. Uh, Wanda Wood, how are you, honey? We are hearing an awful lot, folks, about the Tate brothers. And now, let's see what the Tate brothers are doing, what they're charged with. And I keep referring to one charge: transportation. Not transport, trafficking these young girls. Now, I think I'm the only one asking this question. Of course, they're not going to tell you on your cable news networks. Oh, no, they're not going to do that. But I am. Who were they trafficking to? Do you understand what I'm saying here? Do you understand here the relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? There is one. We'll talk about him in a minute. Okay? So stay tuned. But folks, there is a relationship. Now, there is somebody, no more locked doors. What's the question? Huh? I didn't see a question there. You want to hurry me up in what I'm going to say? No, not going to happen. Happy Sunday and fun day. Now that's what I like. I like positive, respectful messages. There's Wanderer. Huh? Yeah, thank man. Mandy alert some of you folks. Thank you, Wanderer. Okay? All right. No more. You want to know? It's going to come. Okay? So, folks, hit that subscribe button. Like. Do whatever you can to help me build my channel. You know, folks, it's like it says I got over 17,000 followers, and I normally get like 8% of them as viewers. And I'm no different than anybody else, okay? That's about it. But it's not. Okay, folks, there's a gentleman. His name, all right? What else is his name? I got his name, all right? He's the United States Special Representative for Global Partnerships. He assumed office on March 11th, 2025, by Donald Trump. He was born March 5th, 1970. He's 56 years old. He was born in Milan, Italy. Forgive me here, folks. Okay, there's so much going on these days. Now, you are hearing time and time again that Trump or his administration are not going to do anything. Well, let me ask you a question. What has Trump said that you do believe? Okay? You got to notice when he says something, he always does the opposite. And this is what's frightening for me and might be good news for the Tate brothers. Folks, Come on, can you hit that like button? Okay? Alright? There's a lot about Barron Trump here, which I gotta tell you disappoints me. Reports indicate that Donald Trump's youngest son, Barron, is an admirer of Andrew Tate. The two reportedly spoke over a Zoom call arranged by a mutual friend to discuss their shared perspectives. Boy, I would have loved to be on that phone call. Okay, I want to know, all right, what the shared perspectives are. I'm sure you like to know that. The White House representatives, while the White House has denied direct involvement in the Tate's legal matters, high-profile Trump allies and officials, such as this diplomatic envoy Richard Grenell, have faced scrutiny regarding discussions with foreign officials concerning the brothers' travel restrictions. You see, that's the guy that went to Romania and got the travel restriction listed while they were under indictment, and then they flew back to the United States where they've been and are now in Miami in prison, and they say solitary confinement. Oh, and they're complaining about the food. Folks, show me one inmate who has not complained about the food in prison. All right? Prison is prison. All right? What do you think it is? It's not a resort. It's not a country club. All right? Okay, now this name here. How many of you heard of Paulo Zampoli? He's a businessman, U.S. diplomat, known for introducing Donald Trump to Melania Trump. And he was close friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Are you seeing how it's starting to come together? Keep hitting that like button, okay? Keep hitting that like button, folks. You want to hear the rest of this story? Show your appreciation, please. Okay? Show a little love and respect. It is Sunday. I hope you all went to church. And speaking of church, speaking of religion, all right? You don't see one religious group, one, saying anything about the Tate brothers. And they were the biggest donators, getting the votes for Donald Trump. What happened to them? Oh, they support the Tate brothers. Oh my God. Let's take Patrick Betta David, first of all. And I'm going to say this again. Patrick Betta David is Christian, having transitioned from his earlier background as an atheist and his family's heritage. See, he was brought up in Iran, okay? And he identified as an atheist. But later he found God and is now Christian in the following experience in the military and personal moments of prayer. He frequently discusses his relationship with God and personal testimony on his value entertainment media platform. Patrick, I will say this again. You need to have a serious talk. You say you're talking with God, but yet you and your puppets still work for you came out in support of the Trumps, calling these charges fake political stuff. And Patrick, you're not alone. Okay? You're not alone there. Michael Franzese, he came out. He, of course, he knows the Tate brother. He flew to Romania, met with them. He had them on their show just like you did. Okay? Yeah. So don't give me all this religious stuff. I believe in Jesus Christ, my Savior. I'm Italian. I was born a Catholic. I will die a Catholic. And folks, forgive me, but I don't go to church on Sundays. But I do pray every day. I want you to know that. Okay, there's Jennifer Schwab. How are you? Great to see you. All right? And folks, please, for those new to my channel, if you just subscribe and leave me a comment, okay, so that I know that you subscribe and I give you a shout out. I appreciate that. Okay? All right, what's Mr. Paulo Zampoli's relationship? He's a diplomat for Trump. All right, what's his association with Tate Brothers? Washington, D.C. gatherings. He hosted Angel and Tristan Tate at a summer party at his residence just days before federal marshals arrested the brothers in Miami on UK sex trafficking and rape and pornography charges. Okay? I don't have to reread that, do I? I think you got the message there. After the gathering drew public attention, Paolo Zamboli stated to media outlets that he was unaware of the specific criminal allegation against the siblings at that time. I guarantee you he was not. I guarantee you he was aware. Okay? Paolo Zampoli, born on March 5th, 1970, is an Italian-American socialite, businessman, and former modeling agent. After immigrating to the United States and founding a modeling agency, Zampoli became a close friend of Donald Trump, whom he introduced to his future wife, Melania Canas, in 1998. Okay, I'm sure you probably all seen that before, heard it before. It's all over social media. Okay? In December 2020, Trump appointed Zampoli to the Board of Trustees of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. He remained on the board through the Biden administration and advocated for the addition of amenities to the center, such as a marina, a Cipriani restaurant, and a bridge connecting the center to the Theodore Roosevelt Island. Zampoli also called for the establishment of overseas franchises of the center. And in February 2025, in an interview with Politico, he praised David Rubenstein, who Trump removed from the center's chairman, and said that the center is not going anywhere. And then in 2021, he's on the President's Council of Sport, Fitness, and Nutrition. Boy, this guy could do everything. Everything. I want to know that party he had at the with the Tate brothers there. Okay, I want to know who are the girls who were there? All right, who are the girls? Elvis was a smart guy. Thank you, Grunge, for posting that there. All right. Hello, Ivan. How are you? Giving thanks to Mandy. I appreciate that, my friend. There's Agent. Mark, it's sure looking that way. And with the Constitution being thrown out with a remodeling rumble. Yep. Agent Orange, good to see you, my friend. He's here all the time. Okay. Agent Orange, I'm going to be in San Diego August 3rd at Mission Bay at the resort there. I'm just going to be there for the day and then I'm coming. I'm going down there. I got a speaking engagement and then I'll be driving back after a book signing, all right, in the evening. Just thought I'd let you know. Anybody in that area that wants to meet me, come around, okay? In April of 2026, just not long ago, it was Zampoli. He asked FIFA and Trump to replace Iran with Italy in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This is part of the effort of Zampoli to repair the relationship between the Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, and Trump after they fell out over the criticism from Pope Leo. Well, I got a message for you, Prime Minister Meloni of Italy. You were right. Trump should not have done that there, what he did. The Pope was correct. I don't care what anybody wants to say. Okay? Yeah, Michael called out George Soros, but he kissed the ass of the Tate brothers. He's in Italy right now. Maybe he's returning. His daughter just got married. And they had a nice wedding, from what I understand, and Lake Como. Okay, I don't know which daughter this was. I'm going to add. All right, I don't know if it's his daughter from his first marriage or from his second marriage. I'm going to assume it's his daughters from the second marriage. How many of you know that Michael was married before? All right, he had a family. I bet you didn't know that. Okay. Well, I could talk a lot about that, but I won't. Okay. Huh? God loves everybody. Yes, He does. Wonder, yes, Chris Cappy says, I make the world a better place. I make his world a better place. Thank you so much for that. That means a lot to me, my friend Chris. Okay, I'm so happy when I'm able to help somebody and make their day and make them happy. Okay, I hate to bring you all this negative news, but that's all we got. There's nothing positive happening. Okay, we're in a war in Iran, and Trump, I'm going to bomb tomorrow. I'm going to be obliterated. I'm going to do this. In the meantime, there's been no bombing by both sides in the last 2 days. Did you know that? Okay? I don't know what's wrong with Trump, folks. You know, I'm 81 years old, like I tell you, I'm about the same age as he is, and so forth. I can understand having health conditions. God damn it, it gets normal when you get to be this old. Trust me, folks. Alright? Yeah. It's not easy staying alive. What do you think? Okay? You know, when they talk about the golden ages, all right? I'm still waiting for them. I'm 81. When the golden ages come? He says Trump's a government terrorist. Oh, yes, he is. And the things that he's doing, they're not legal. They're not within our Constitution. But he don't give a shit about our Constitution. Eleanor, call me Angel. Hello to Eleanor. How are you? All right? I said that you're waiting for the golden ages too. Okay. My God. I think we're all waiting. Wander says I could run the country. Okay. I'm going to tell you something. I want to bet, all right, I could run the country better than anybody that's there and anybody that they want to run for either party. See, there's a difference between them and me, okay? When I tell you I'm going to do something, I do it, okay? Congress and the Senate, they couldn't have somebody like me leading them that I actually would do something for the people. See, they say it, but they don't do it. And that pisses me off to no end. Okay? Ron Johnson, this religious hypocrite, that's what he is, hides behind religion. Just like a lot of our congressmen, a lot of our senators. I don't hide behind a religion, folks. I am what I am. All right? Like it, don't like it, up to you. Subscribe and like. Come on. We're at 44. All right, let's get to 100, folks. Let's get to 100. Because I'm going to give you a read. When it hits 50, that's when I will start reading you something from my book. All right? Huh? Christ is King. Anthony. Anthony, we got a MAGA person here. Okay. Everybody's welcome here. You're welcome, Anthony. Okay. Tell me what Trump has done about our economy. All right, just answer that one question. All right. Any MAGA supporter here who thinks Trump was put here by God to be the next whatever, okay? I want you to tell me what Trump has done to help the economy. Begin by going to the gas station and tell me what the price of gas is. Then go to the grocery store and tell me what the price are in the grocery store. How much they went up from yesterday to today. Okay? Tell me what he's done about those stimulus checks he was going to send out to everybody when he ran for office. Well, he's been in for 1 year and 8 months now. Have you gotten a stimulus check? Because if you did, let me know. Because I sure hell didn't get one. All right? And they said, must probably create a lot of MAGA box shatters. You know, I appreciate you because I don't know where these trolls come from, these bots, okay? But did you know that 51% of all profiles across all social media are bots. And Facebook knows it, Instagram knows it, YouTube knows it. All right, 51%. Now imagine, you know they got the technology to get them away, okay? But just imagine if they did, they lose 51% of all their subscribers. So somehow they're making money on this fake stuff, and we're here like idiots coming here, okay? Huh? Now, folks, we're at 50. Well, keep it going. All right, everybody, keep subscribing. All right, as you all know, I'm the author of the best-selling book. You can see the best-selling sticker right there. Okay, The Accidental Gangster, from insurance salesman to Hollywood fixture. All right, folks, I'm going to read. Yesterday I read you the first chapter. Okay, today I'm going to read you chapter 27. See, folks, this is a real book. Okay. Jerry Zimmerman, you heard me talk about him? You've heard Michael Franchese talk about him. Okay. Jerry Zimmerman was always on the lookout for new opportunities to turn a profit. He saw potential in the auction business and formed a relationship with an auctioneer named Stephen Brown. Some other guys, and I served as buyers during the auction, sitting in the audience and bidding on items we knew were of the most value. A rather common practice. Okay? See, there's a lot of things you see in an auction, but you got bidders like me. We know they are. We bid on them. I never had to, you don't pay for it. Okay? Because we already got a buyer for X number of dollars for it. So we don't want anybody else to buy it. But it might be something that draws people to come to the auction. Okay? I bet you didn't know those things about auctions. Another of the auctioneers was Barry Sweet. In my opinion, Steve was a much better auctioneer, but Barry was the money guy. He had a home in Santa Barbara where he still lives. Yet he always cried the blues about money like there was no tomorrow. One day when Jimmy Cossie and I were visiting Jerry at his office, he said a guy who ran a small computer business owed him $25,000 and wasn't making any effort to pay it off. Barry wanted to know if Jimmy and I could help him collect. Even though I preferred to work alone, it sounded like an easy earn that Jimmy and I could split. So we get 50% to collect, okay? So if we got the 25,000, Jimmy and I would have had $12,500 that we would split up. Now, even though, I said that, the trouble was that I was coming down with some bug and just wanted to get back home and in bed. So I wouldn't be able to do my usual research until I felt better. After we left Jerry's, Jimmy said, since we're near the deadbeat's office, why don't we pay him a visit right now? I said, let's wait until next week. That will give me the time to check everything out. Jimmy said, this is a piece of cake deal. You don't need to do any checking. Let's just go and get the money. Jimmy was a degenerate gambler. He was the underboss of Los Angeles and the boss of Palm Springs. Jimmy Cossie, for those of you who do not know. Okay? So against my better judgment, I gave in and drove to the guy's office, which was in a small strip mall. And I parked my car facing his window. When I parked my car, his office window was there, right there. We went inside. The owner was alone in the shop area, and we started talking to him about his death. While we were talking, the guy said something I didn't like. And I can remember something like, you guinea bastard, you wop, all right? Okay, those are slang names that people call Italians. So I'm sitting there, and there was an adapter plug, a plug with the prongs there. And I took it, and I had the prongs sticking out of my finger. I got up, and boom, I hit him. All right, now his forehead, there was like all right, there was a carpeting. My heel got caught. I went down on top of him. He's yelling. Jimmy comes, breaks us up, and separates us. And he runs into his office. And now Jimmy said, go in, talk to him. I said, Jimmy, he's on the phone calling the police. See, I don't even have to read that. I know what it is. All right, Jimmy, he's on the phone calling the police. We got to get the hell out of here. Huh? There it is, right there. Busha, we got to get the hell out of here. We beat it, but the guy was able to get my plate number through his office window before I pulled away. When the cops got there, they ran my plate and found the car was registered to me. Then they called the OCID, Organized Crime. All right? Detective came, showed the guy my picture, and he ID'd me as the guy who hit him. They also showed him a photo of Jimmy, who was out on bail on a previous arrest regarding a telephone operation in Palm Springs. But the victim did not identify Jimmy. But Jimmy was out on bail. Okay? When a victim identifies a suspect from a picture, he is required to sign that photo. The guy signed my picture, but not Jimmy's. My lawyer found out later that the cops signed Jimmy's picture themselves so they could lock him up and revoke his bail. And that's exactly what they did. They took Jimmy right in away for violating the provisions of his bail. They weren't in that big a hurry to grab me, though, which I didn't understand. I'm still on probation for the cable box robbery. You all know I robbed the LA City Jail of cable boxes. Huh. Yeah, John. Thank you, John. They decided to play a couple head games with Jimmy before they arrested me. But he'd been locked up too many times for those kind of tricks to work. You all heard me talk about Jimmy County. Okay, I'm one of the very rare individuals in the gangster world that you will ever find that was with two underbosses of two different families. Okay? Both families claiming me. Hey, folks, I belong to myself. Okay? But then you can read all about that in my book. Okay? Later we found out that one Jimmy hit. Okay, wait. First, Jimmy called me from jail and told me two new guys were placed in his housing unit and came to him saying that I hadn't been arrested yet because I was informing on him. He said one of them looked familiar, but he couldn't remember from where. Sensing they were plants, he punched one of the guys out in prison. He didn't take crap or lies from anybody. The guys removed both of the new rivals from the unit. And we know who those two individuals were. Okay? One was an FBI agent, and another one was a guy that we collected money from out of Westwood. He owned a pizza place. And we got 15 grand. He was doing some other things. He got caught, and he was trying to work off his sentence by working with organized crime, all right, to get me and Jimmy. They do that all the time, folks. Later, we found out that the one Jimmy hit was an FBI agent. All right, the other guy was a rat. I just said that. You never know if the person you're talking to is an agent, cop, or a jailhouse snitch. Folks, I don't want none of you going to prison, but those are things that happen, okay? Remember, every inmate in any prison in the country, what do they want? They want to get out of prison. They'll wear wires, they'll do anything they got, all right, to try to get information from you about other crimes. So, folks, first thing you learn when you go to prison, mind your own business, don't say nothing. Be cordial, be respectful, okay? But don't talk about any of your crimes. One day, Jimmy was being brought. He had to go in front of the judge. The FBI agents sat behind him. When they left and the marshals were taking Jimmy out, the FBI's walked behind them. Okay? The FBI agents heard I was giving information to the cops and he should start cooperating with them. He said he told them, you can go fuck yourself. Ori is not talking. Then he added, Ori has been recording you guys and has several tapes. At that point, remember, at that point, the only one who knew I taped the FBI was Jimmy, Joe in Buffalo, all right, who was the boss of Buffalo. It was Joe Tadaro, all right, and my lawyer. When Jimmy broke the news to the FBI, they got pissed because they knew my tape could cause them problems. Fine, anyway, the cops were finally getting around to me. Jimmy heard about it in the slammer and called me. They're coming for you. Get yourself a lawyer, he said. I got out of my place. In a few minutes, my beeper went off. I stopped at a payphone. I called a number. You know what it was? Forest Lawn Mortuary. I hung up and the beeper went off again, showing a different number. I called and it was the FBI office. I said, go fuck yourself, and hung up. I drove around for a few hours when I was sure no one was following me, checked into a hotel. Next morning, I went back home. Jimmy was right. A slew of cops showed up and took me in on the computer guy's complaint. The worst thing was that the guy didn't really owe Barry a nickel. It was not a legitimate debt. Barry had already sued the guy and he lost in court. You see, he didn't tell us that. See, if Jimmy would have gave me the time to do my research, none of that would have happened. I would have found that out. Okay? So sometimes you gotta move slow in the gangster world or any world. Okay? Thank you. I've been telling the people, tap the screen, share, subscribe, and hype this video, folks. Okay? Come on, who's new? Mandy, anybody new subscribe yet? Anyway, I got myself a sharp lawyer, and we prepared for my case to go to trial. 3 times the complainant failed to show up in court. If he missed one more date, the case would be dropped automatically. But he appeared the next time. As we were in the courtroom waiting for what court we're going to be heard in for jury selection, the DA approached my lawyer. He said the computer guy only wanted to be compensated for his injuries. For $3,000, the case would be resolved. I agreed. I'll pay him the $3,000. Better pay him off, had the case go away. We went in front of the judge and presented the settlement. She said, Mr. Spado, do you have the money with you? I don't, Your Honor. In the past, people have left us checks that bounce, and then they've never been nowhere to be found. So I'm going to be very careful here. And I rose my hand and said, Your Honor, do you accept cash? Certainly, she smiled. I said, I had the money in my apartment. If it's okay, I can have my lawyer deliver it to you this afternoon. She said, that is acceptable, Mr. Spado. As we left the courtroom, the computer guy stopped me and said, I don't want to go through with this. But the FBI went to his home and told him that he better be in court. So here's the FBI threatening this guy who wasn't going to come to court, all right? But he was afraid of the FBI. You see how they work, folks? They're more fucking crooked. And they're not getting better. Look, you got Cash Patel, you got Todd Blank. Give me a freaking break, okay? I understand. You did what you had to do, no problem, he said. At this point, I would like to say to everyone, don't ever think you're smarter than the FBI. If you do, you'll end up in even worse trouble. These guys are smart. They have the money and the time more than you do. Even though this was a local charge, they wanted to see me behind bars and stuck their noses into it. I came out on top that time, but the feds have long memories. As for Barry, although his lies created that whole mess, he never came up with a penny to help with the legal expenses. Barry was all about Barry. Everybody else can go fuck themselves. When I was released years later, I was flat broke. I reached out to Barry for a loan, a measly $5,000. He whined about how tough things were and said he didn't have the money. This guy was a multi-millionaire, okay? A multi-millionaire, this guy was. Didn't spend a goddamn penny, okay? You gotta understand, it cost me legal fees of over $10,000 for that case. Plus, I had to pay him the victim, the supposed victim, $3,000. All right, time with everything else, call it 10 grand. Do you think this guy, because he lied, he didn't tell me and Jimmy at that point that he went to court and he lost on that case? It was not a legitimate debt. All right? You see, folks, I don't care who you are. If it's a legal debt, you have legal way to collect it. But if it's an illegal debt, that gets you in trouble. Hmm. So then, folks, that's chapter 27 of my book. You can read about it. There's a lot more you can read about. Okay? I know a lot of you people love Michael Franzese. You can read about Michael in my book. You see, I never would have met Sonny Franzese if not for Michael while he was threatening a dear friend of mine. And that led to my first sit down of my life. Read all about it here, folks. Alright? People can't. Who is Ted Gunderson, Scott? People keep asking. He must be somebody. All right, but I can't recall his name. Who is he? Where's he from and so forth? Okay? I met so many people in my life, it's almost impossible for me to remember their names. Okay? But normally something will come around and click in my head and so forth. All right? Well, folks, it is Sunday, and I made some linguine today, I gotta be honest. All right? With my meatballs that I make and all that there. So I'm gonna eat now. All right? So everybody have a wonderful, blessed day. And remember, make somebody else's day happy, and I guarantee you it will come back to you tenfold. I thank you all for coming. I thank you all for your support. All right? All my love and respect to all of you. Thank you. Oh, Scott, he was the head of the FBI in the 70s and 80s. No, I didn't know. Okay? You remember, 70s, I was in New York. The 80s, I was out here in California. Okay? So, Los Angeles, to be exact. I was in San Francisco a little bit. I've been around a lot of places I lived. Vegas, Florida. Oh boy, I know them all very well. Done a lot of things. Everybody have a great day. God bless you. Take care now.